Jumping up the jet, goddamn. I don't get no rest, goddamn.
What up, what up? It's your boy J.com, and today I am back with another video. So today I'm going to be going over everything that you need to start and successfully launch a Shopify store or e-commerce store, because a lot of people get started in e-commerce and completely fail. And it's not because they don't have the right products, but it's because their store looks scammy. So today I'm going to break down everything you need to know in order for customers to not only trust you, but also buy from you. And this is something that every big brand does that beginners completely miss. And my apologies, I'm still a little sick here, so if I sound a little nasally, that's just what it is for now, but it does not stop the grind. I'm still out here working no matter what. But today I'm going to break down basically all the core concepts that you need to know to implement into your Shopify store or your e-commerce brand, because a lot of people completely miss this, and then months later they wonder why their store has zero sales and why they're on the brinks of quitting something that could potentially be worth 6, 7, and even 8 figures down the line. So I'm going to break this down now. So I'm going to get into it. I'm going to share my screen here, and let me tell you, I should be charging you guys for this, because this is some real life sauce. This is like hours and hours of studying, trying to find resources, talking to mentors, talking to close friends. It's just understanding your niche, right? So I feel like a lot of people rush their store and then they take the wrong approach towards their store, which is basically just trying to find whatever's trendy and just creating a store out the blue, not really taking the time to understand their customer profile and their demographic and understanding, okay, how can we really convert customers? They just go into it like, okay, I seen, X, Y, and Z make a certain amount of money online. I'm just going to create a store, add a few products, name it whatever, and I should be printing within the next few days. And that's genuinely not how big brands scale to that next level. Like, scaling to that next level is really taking the time to educate yourself in that industry or that niche, and then understanding the customers that you're going to sell to, right? And then a lot of other things and other components add on to that, like copywriting, right? Ad copywriting is a big thing. Ad creatives, right? UGC. There's certain components that people skip over, thinking that they can just start a e-com brand and launch and make a shit ton of money out of nowhere without actually putting in the work. So today I'm going to break down a few things. I'm going to give you guys the things that I use in my store. I'm going to show you my store. And then from there, whatever questions you guys have, you guys can leave them in the comments. You guys can shoot me a DM on Instagram, whatever the case is. But I'm going to show you exactly what you need to create a e-com store. And I'm not drop shipping. I'm creating a brand. So this is e-commerce. If you want to drop ship, cool, but drop ship and brand it. Branded drop shipping is the move in 2026. Just having a random store with a whole bunch of random trendy items is not going to work. You're not Target. You're not Walmart. These people have a religious customer base and people that are loyal to them. They have brand loyalty. If you have no brand, you basically don't have anything. Yes, you could get a few sales. Yes, you can make a little bit of money. But when it comes to really scaling your brand or business to that next level, you're going to reach a lot of bottlenecks and ceilings because you have not created a brand. You have not created an identity that people can relate to. And that's one of the biggest things in e-com, is creating a brand that people can relate to, right? Like, there's certain products that you may have in your house and you religiously buy them over and over again, not only because the product works well, but because there's an identity that they've sold to you, right? They're selling a transformation, or they're selling a feeling, right? Sales, like my buddy mentioned, my boy Julian, the one that I was on the podcast last time, I owned a loan brokerage, and I still do own a loan brokerage, right? And we do cold calling, we're trying to sell loans to clients. And he was like, you're already in that space. It's the same thing. Your ads are just cold calls, right? And I remember from cold calling, instead of just letting them know the problems that we can solve and how we're better and etc., it was us selling a feeling, right? People buy feelings. And if you look on my Instagram, you see I mention this a lot. People buy feelings, people buy transformations. If you make someone feel good, 9 times out of 10, they will buy, right? So just like I said, you have products in your house that you religiously buy because they make you feel a certain way, whether that's their branding, whether that's their messaging, whether that's their website branding and messaging all together. Something about them is making you buy, and it's not only because the product works, right? Marketing makes your product 9 times out of 10. Now, obviously, you have a complete shit product. It may sell because of the marketing, but eventually you're not going to have returning customers. But if your product is fairly decent and you have great marketing, you will succeed at this. So I'm going to break everything down. I'm going to share my screen here, and I'm going to kind of break down everything from the homepage to high quality product pages, because that is like PDP is essential. A lot of people don't go directly to your homepage. They may go there eventually, but a lot of the times, if you're running ads, they should be good to your product page or editorial, listicle, whatever the case is, a funnel that sells them. Then I'm going to talk about copywriting as well, being able to sell your customer without your product page having to do so, right? So your customer should already be sold before they get to your product page. And then your product page just reinforces it, right? And the industry that I got in was supplements, just because one, I suffer from bloating and gut health, and I see my girl does as well. And a lot of people do. I mean, I did a survey in a bar with two of my buddies, and I want to say 90% of the women said they suffered from bloating after eating, right? So there's a there's a need here, right? Majority of Americans suffer from leaky gut syndrome. Clearly, something needs to be done. And it's not always just your food, right? A lot has to do with the gut bacteria, microbiome, etc. And a lot of people don't understand that your gut is like the center of your body. Like, it helps with skin clarity, it helps with energy, and it helps with mental clarity, right? So a lot of people don't know that. There's a lot of studying that I had to do to understand that. And that's a major reason why I got into this industry, or the supplements space. So I'm going to share my screen now. I'm going to break everything down to you here. Let me just get this out the way. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to go, the first thing I'm going to do is go to my website, right? So the website has gone through a lot of changes, but it was really just trying to understand what changes mattered the most and how I could get my website to then convert customers that have never heard of my brand before, right? So you go here, my brand is called Revive. Just let it load. And as you can see, this is the landing page, right? This is the home page. You can see I have an ultra wide, so sometimes it just comes out a lot wider than it needs to. But we sell women's probiotics. And a lot of our information is from women. So don't just think I'm a male selling women's probiotics. We're going to get into the men's line eventually. But for now, we're working with women, and we have women like NPs and nurses that kind of give us updates on some of their patients and their clients, and just kind of helped educate us when it came to being able to sell supplements or women probiotics. Perfect. So as you can see here, the homepage itself just kind of sells you right here and then, right? So if you try Revive today, get 30% off, 100% satisfaction guaranteed, and then loved by 10,000 plus women, and then, bloat support made for women, feel lighter, beat the bloat, right? So that right there, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion that buy from us, that is a huge selling point, right? So it's nothing that's just plain and generic. It's like you feel lighter, right? Sell that feeling and beat the bloat. Sell that feeling and then have a solution for the problem that's causing the feeling that they want to feel, right? So that was a big thing. And then the CTA, I went with the green on this just because I feel like it pops and it allows you it just captures attention right there and then. So that's a big reason why I did so. So try it today, get it 30% off, and then up here is subscribe and save up to 30%. And I'll get into that later. But as you can see, it's clear and concise, not too much junk. Everything is in alignment. Everything tells its own story, right? So it's not just digestion, it's everything. Your microbiome is a living ecosystem influencing how you feel, look, and function every single day. Support it, and everything shifts from bloat to energy to mood, right? So we're selling feelings. This is a huge feeling. Like, you don't feel too hot, your mood is always down, and you have no energy. A lot has to do with your microbiome, right? Gut health. So I wanted to create something here that explained that, but it didn't have an over explanation where people just get that scroll fatigue and they're just scrolling and reading. So I just wanted to get fast points, very interactive, where, as you can see, we hover over these key points and they move. That's just interaction there. So it makes people feel in tune with the site. And that's something that I wanted to incorporate within the site to keep people there longer. So it's very user friendly. And as you can see here, everything has its own category, and it shows you the result and the feeling that you'll have after, right? Like I said, sell that feeling. Daily comfort, less bloat, calmer looking, more glow for the skin, more calm, more clear with the mood, immunity, and then cravings as well. But as you can see, it's clear and concise. It doesn't do too much, but it also gives you enough information to know exactly what we do. So your homepage, the first few scrolls, people should know exactly what your product does and the problem that it's solving and how it can make them feel. the first few scrolls. They shouldn't have to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page to feel that. They should be able to feel that immediately, right? Right when they get to that page, they should be able to feel or understand what that product does and how it'll make them feel. So that was the objective that I was looking for here. You want to get real people to hold your bottles, right? You want to have people send in pictures for discounts because reviews are everything, especially when it comes to health and supplements. Me personally, if I don't see enough reviews or if they don't feel trustworthy, like if this site was scammy, I don't think we'd have any sales or any type of traction because the supplements are something that you're putting in your body. It's a dietary supplement. And I feel like you have to, you have to tread lightly, right? On thin ice when it comes to stuff like this because these are ingestibles. People are taking these. They may not know how it makes them feel, etc. They may have other medications. So you want to make sure that you're giving them as much information, but also getting that trust factor, breaking down that sales defense mechanism. Because at the end of the day, you're still selling, right? And that defense mechanism is going to um, be a big part of the decisions that they make when they move forward on your site. So as you can see here, we have some real results by real customers. And then you go down, we show you exactly. So this is quantitative, right? It's showing you what your gut will feel like week by week. So it's not just, oh, take this gut pill and feel good eventually. No, it's letting you know exactly how you'll feel week by week, right? And that's a big thing in this space is quantitative results, right? Or skin glow in 5 days. Day 1 you'll feel this, day 2 you'll feel this, day 3 you'll feel this, etc., right? With maybe energy patches or whatever the case is, you want to give them a timeline that they can actually follow, so every time something shifts they know, oh, okay, my mood just shift. Oh, now week 2, okay, I don't have sugar cravings anymore. And then month 1, wow, my stomach feels calm all day, I don't have anything. And then month 2, I feel like my gut is finally in control. So you want to be able to lead them on a timeline to then follow themselves. That way they feel more in tune with with that product that they're taking. And like a big thing with the product page, it's selling you an identity, right? I feel like this is an identity here. This is something that, oh, I go on this page, it's super interactive, the colors pop. I love, how you could take the quiz, you could shop the woman probiotic. Everything's in alignment, right? It's not just random colors, not just random, CTAs, not just random random boxes just floating around that don't tell a story or tell me how this product will help me. Everything is incongruent to what I scrolled past before. So as you can see, we did the benefits as well. It shows you the benefits, skin clarity, gut comfort, etc. And then you can click down and see exactly what it does. And like I said, none of this is medical advice. If you're pregnant / nursing or on medication, check with your clinician. These are things that you should do. Not everyone does it, but these are things that you definitely should do to avoid recalls or avoid lawsuits, etc. Just let them know this is not medical advice, but this is tested and studied. All of our pills are coming from the US, GMP facilities, FDA regulated facilities, third party tested for purity, everything, right? So we didn't want to take any risk just getting any type of product. So we wanted to get a product that we knew was safe and that other people were taking, but also from a company that takes their stuff seriously and follows the guidelines that are set in stone for supplements and stuff like that. But as you can see, everything is super interactive. And this is just the homepage. But the homepage tells you everything you need to know about this, right? Everything you need to know about the product and what it does. And that's what you should be aiming for when you start a store, is make sure that homepage tells people exactly what that product does within the first, few seconds of scrolling, right? And then also incorporate selling a feeling within that scroll, right? Or within that homepage. So I'm not going to go directly to the product just yet. I'm going to show you this that I think a lot of people sleep on in supplements. It's a little different with other industries. I mean, you could still incorporate it, and you could still get away with it, and just take data from it. But for supplements, health, beauty, etc., having a quiz is, I think that's a game changer. It allows people to really understand where they are in regards to whether it's skin clarity or gut health, whatever the case is. It allows people to understand where they are and how they can move forward. So I'm going to go here to this page, the quiz page here, and as you can see, find your revived match in under 60 seconds. And then right now it's just the age. I'm just going to go through this quickly. Just click whatever, and all of these are actually like each question dictates the answer at the end. which is cool. It's not just some random quiz. You don't want to just have a random quiz because at the end, when they see the results, they're like, okay, this was never me. What the hell is this thing talking about? So you want to make sure that there's a conditional logic on each one of your quizzes. So depending on what they select, their result will it'll dictate their result. So let's see. Boom. And as you can see, super interactive. It's analyzing your personalized health profile. Look at this. Your vaginal microbiome is significantly just disrupted. And then it tells you based on your answers, right? Like I said, you want to have that conditional logic. So based on these answers, this is the problem, right? And then what's happening, have an explanation for what's happening. And this allows your consumers and your customers to feel engaged, feel like you care, feel like you're listening, and feel like you actually have a problem or actually have a solution to their problem, right? So I think this is like a game changer when it comes to supplements and stuff like that, is having that quiz, letting them know the problem based on their answers and then what's happening, and then letting them know that it's not their fault, right? So as you can see, it's not their fault. And then they can go on and continue to see their plan. So you see your plan. It's a 7-day gut reset. 63 women have started with your profile today, and that's real life. Like, it's connected to the site. It allows, people that take the quiz, it allows them to then it allows it to feed it into Shopify. So women know, okay, you're not alone, right? There's other people that suffer from the same thing they are suffering from. This is their gut profile. Here's your 7-day gut reset plan, right? So what to do in the next 7 days: consistent wins, hydration baseline. If bloating is weekly, watch for 2 to 3 foods that trigger you the most and pull them for 7 days, etc. So it's really giving you advice in a timeline with a 7-day reset. So it's giving you step by step what needs to be done in order for you to start feeling better, right? And then what we'll do is we'll see my foundational match. As you can see, floor balance low, symptoms mild, recommended duration, that's crazy, 2 to 3 months, diet risk moderate, right? Why this fits you. So just explaining everything to them, why it fits them, how to use it, and then from there they can shop their match. And this is when I'll get into my product page to show you how I strategically set up my product page to have the highest conversions as possible. But as you can see, Women's Probiotic, your foundational match. And I feel like this is a game changer for the site. In any type of supplement brand, it's a game changer. It's allowing people to actually, like I mentioned before, to actually see what's wrong with them and then actually take action and then have a set plan. Because it's hard for some people to set plans, just like it's hard for some people to set a plan for the gym. Having that accountability, right, and holding them accountable to a plan that they must follow in order to get back on track. I mean, I think it's critical. I think it increased our conversions. I think it increased our traction, and it allows people to actually feel like we're a part of them and we're trying to help them solve their problem and not just trying to sell them a product, right? So now we'll go to shop their match, which is the same thing. And this is this, right? The floor bloom reset. And I really want to break this down to you guys because I think the product page, because a lot of our ads are running to the product page. I think the product page has really helped conversions and has really helped people add to cart, get subscriptions, etc. Right? So as you can see here, right there and then it tells you what the product is. You don't want to just have a generic name. Daily Woman Probiotic, gut health pill, right? You want to have an actual name and actually brand it. That way people feel like they're a part of the brand, right? Oh, I just got the Floor Bloom Reset. Oh, have you heard of the Floor Bloom Reset? I take it like every day, right? I've been taking it for a month, 2 months, and I feel good. It significantly helped me, that Floor Bloom Reset, right? So having a branded name, I think, is really, really, really key, and not just having some random generic name that you could just throw on. I feel like, one, it looks less scammy and spammy, and then two, it helps create that identity for your customers to then align with, right? And then breaking down what they'll get: 30 capsules, full 30-day supply, clinically studied strands, plus prebiotic support, because prebiotic and probiotic are 2 different things. Free gut health ebook. That kind of triggers their reward system, right? And it allows them to feel like, oh, I'm getting something for free, and I get a free gift, I get a free ebook. Perfect. Now I can learn more about my gut health and how I can consistently stay less bloated, right? So we incorporated that in there as well. Bloating relief in as little as 7 days, quantitative, and then 60-day money back guarantee, try risk free. That's a big thing in this space, is allowing your customers to get their money back if they don't feel changes or if they feel like it's not for them. I haven't had anyone return our product, right? So clearly it works. And this is why your supplier really does matter. But for the most part, having that money back guarantee, it allows you to build that trust with them. Because in supplements, if you're not a big brand and you don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to push in marketing each month, the brand awareness takes time, right? And the biggest thing you could do is help people trust your brand for the long run. And in order to do so, having things like a 60-day money back guarantee, I think is, or even a 30-day money back guarantee, I think is extremely critical to your long-term success and trust building, right? You want to break that barrier of trust because in gut and supplements or just supplements itself, trust is everything, right? Trust is everything. So having that is key. And then having extra add-ons, right? So like the ebook, letting them know that these are clinically studied strands. These are not just random strands that we're throwing in a bottle. These are like clinically studied to help people with bloating, floor imbalance, etc. Um, and as you can see, ship fast, order within 21 hours, 18 minutes, 35 seconds to ship tomorrow. Fast shipping is everything, right? People want their orders right away. This is why Amazon thrives. This is a big reason why Amazon thrives. They have the same day, right? They have you pay $10 to get it the same day. You have the next day, you have the free 2 days, whatever the case is. Shipping is everything, unless it's like someone that isn't FBA, right? Then obviously the shipping from itself may take longer. But anyone that owns a shop, like people that I know that own Amazon stores and they just do it through FBA, people are getting their orders within 1 to 2 days, right? Because they have Prime. And if it's not Prime, they get it 2 to 3, right? But shipping is everything. You spend your money, you want that thing to come in. I know when I buy something, it's like, yeah, I can't wait for it to come in. It's something new. Dopamine's high right now. I can't wait for it to come in. I'm not waiting 14 to 21 days for my product to come in. And this is where a lot of beginners make that mistake is, one, when you get your stuff outsourced in China and stuff like that, you want to make sure that you buy it beforehand, right? You don't have to buy thousands of dollars worth of product. Just buy a few products beforehand. That way you can have something to ship to your initial customers. And if you're drop shipping, get a supplier that can actually fulfill that order same day or next day, even though they're two different time zones, but can fulfill that order fairly quickly. That way your customers can get their orders fairly quickly, right? No one wants to wait 14 to 28 days, 35 days for something from China to be in some random packaging, right? And that's something also I'm going to discuss as well. But as you can see, you'll get that. And then we have great product photos. It allows customers to really feel like, okay, we're a brand. This is a brand here. We're not a drop shipping store. We're not some scammy drop shipping store. We're an actual brand that's growing and thriving, hoping to get into stores one day, right? So I think your product pictures definitely matter. Me personally, I didn't want to put before and after in here. I feel like that's just too Shopify-y. I wanted to really create a brand where you're getting high quality photos of the product. Not before and after. The information that you read on here will let you know the before and after without having to visually see it, right? I think that's a little too Shopify-y, and that's just my opinion. But I didn't want to go that route. I wanted to go the actual route of me being able to have the product, have nice quality photos, and people could go through the photos and be like, okay, this is an actual brand, right? And as you can see, we have bundles. I think bundles is extremely important. So not only do we have bundles, we have subscriptions. Subscriptions is a game changer. Like when I tell you it is a game changer in this space. For the beginners that are trying to start a store, having subscriptions is an absolute game changer, but then stacking it on with bundles, it blows things out the water, right? The subscription allows you to have returning customers, and you're not always going to be profitable that first subscription. Subscriptions are usually for LTV, right? So 2, 3, 4, 5 months down the line, you don't have to spend any more ads to get that customer in, right? You don't have to spend more money on ads. That customer is there, they're subscribing. So the ads aren't accounted for the people that are subscribing, right? Those are just kind of just like, you just have to subtract your product cost and obviously website and all that stuff, but you don't have to implement that ad cost in there. It's basically just pure profit if you have good margins when it comes to your product, right? So having a subscription is key. You also want to have an option for them to not be on subscription as well. 1 month supply and then 90-day full reset and then 60-day gut reset, right? So having certain names for your bundles is key. I didn't want to just go with 1 month supply, 2 month, 3 month. I wanted to actually have an identity for each bundle that we're selling, right? 60-day, 90-day, 3 bottles, 60-day, 2 bottles, 1 month supply, 1 bottle, right? And then you get free shipping over $50. So I wanted to do that with the bundles. I think bundling is amazing because it allows you to increase your AOV, which is average order volume or value, sorry. Um, And then from there, when you add on that subscription, it's like they're getting that every month, right? So you're getting two in one. And obviously, you want to make sure your margins are in alignment to the bundle. But nine times out of 10, you're still doing very well, even if you sell the 2 bottles at a discount or the 3 bottles at a discount and then on a subscription, right? It allows you to, one, it psychologically triggers people when they see that sale. Like, it was $119, now it's $78. The most popular, recommended for best results, say $41. When people see that, they're like, oh wow, this is super valuable. I get 2 bottles, so 60-day gut reset, get free shipping, and then I'm saving $41 on it. On top of that, 10% for the subscription, right? Because as you can see, if I under the subscription, you only be saving $32, right? So this is huge. It's very valuable when you have stuff like this, when you're able to show them exactly how much they're saving, and then allowing them to subscribe or unsubscribe depending on what their long term goals are when it comes to your product. But bundling, I think, is super key. It allows you to increase that average order value, and essentially get you more profit in the long run, right? Especially when you implement that subscription. So as we scroll down, we have the batch 004, and we do things in batches, just because we want to protect the live culture's potency and freshness. So it's never mass manufactured, at least for now. It's not manufactured in mass amounts. So the next restock is in 3 to 4 weeks. We got 44 units left. And that's a big one. That's that scarcity, that's urgency, right? So it allows your customers to be like, oh wow, I need to get this quick before it sells out, and I'm not gonna be able to get it for another 3 to 4 weeks, right? And it really depends on how you want to go about it. We actually tell the truth on this. Some people may not. I mean, do what you want, to each his own, right? But at the end of the day, it still triggers the same thing, that urgency, right? Scarcity. You don't have a lot, things are leaving, right? Or the bottles are going. It allows your customer to be like, okay, I need to get this ASAP, right? So having that as well I think is very, very crucial and critical when it comes to increasing your conversions. And then we have the product description as well. As you see, we didn't want to put it up there, wanted to put it down here because you're still scrolling, right? You're still trying to get as much information as possible, even though you've been sold on the homepage. But if you're coming right to the product page, this sells you as well. But as you go down, it just sells you a little more, and it reinforces that trust. So as you can see here, we broke everything down. Daily probiotic plus prebiotic, designed to support the digestive comfort, regularity, and gut balance, crafted in GMP certified USA facilities and third party tested for purity, right? These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA because it's not a requirement, right, for supplements. Clinically driven benefits, right? So having that is key. It really enforces that trust factor. These are clinically driven, right? So meaning people have tested these. There's been clinical studies on these. This is something that you could take and actually feel good, right? So having that, I think, is extremely crucial. And it just allows you to continuously build on that trust factor that that the customers are going to need to buy from you. Um, so how to use, that's on the bottle already, but some people just read past everything. So just giving them, a brief explanation on how they should use it. Take 1 capsule a day, preferably with food for best results. Take consistently every day for 30 days, right? Um, it just allows them, you're like babysitting them or holding their hand through it. Shipping information, that's key. Return policy, also key. You guys should know this. People want to know if they ship, if they want to return something, can they get their money back? Will it be quick, right? And you can see full policy details in our returns page, right? And the shipping information, people want to know how fast they can get their stuff. Why are people still bloating? People want to know these things, right? So, and I'm going to break this down later on, in a different segment, basically breaking down the market stages, right? So there's the aware, the unaware, the people that don't know they have that problem, and that's all part of like market stages. And that's gonna be a different video because I really go into depth in that. And it kind of tells you which is easier to sell, what's harder to sell, and that kind of correlates onto your ads, right? So certain ad copyrights and certain ad formats are going to different people within that market segment, whether they're aware already, unaware, and just don't know they have the problem, right? And then the aware is obviously aware, but just don't know what the best product is, right? So that's going to be in a different segment, but this kind of breaks down why you're still bloating, and then it tells you to fix, right? It breaks down everything, tells you to fix, breaks down everything, tells you to fix. So people are actually getting valuable information from this product page, right? And that's where I feel like a lot of new beginners and a lot of beginning e-com stores, they fail to realize that you should be trying to give them as much information as possible without looking spammy or without looking like you're trying to oversell them. Um, and this is why we put things like this, right? It's not there originally. I mean, it was there, but sometimes you open the page and just like that, you just click down and then it gives you everything. It's not too much, but it gives you just enough information. And if you want to see a full breakdown of our blog, you'll do that. And I just give you a little, taste of the blog right now. This is also going to be for a different segment as well, just because this is also something that has to do with ads and stuff like that. So that's going to be in a different segment as well. And as you can see, we go down here, gives you everything you need to know. Bloating, many meals or many notice meals feel lighter, digestion feels calmer, and post-meal bloating becomes less intense, right? So just giving them, like I said, quantitative results, right? Just letting them know how they'll feel after a certain time frame allows them to be like, okay, this is something that I want to take moving forward. And then once they start feeling those changes, they'll be like, oh, wow, this really worked, right? So that was something we wanted to do. And then we wanted to have that clinical evidence as well, which is just basically breaking down everything designed by clinical standards instead of hype. So as you can see, we have what we look for, human clinical trials when available, what we avoid, cures and treats, disease language, etc. And then we also have, the evidence breakdown, high impact, easy to trust, right? And then it shows you the clinical studies A, B. So this would be A, B, C, D, and then F would be the bottom. So it just basically gives you everything you need to know about our product, but also not just our product, but bloating itself, right? And I think that's super critical because not everyone knows about bloating. Not everyone knows the baseline of bloating, right? Or how to get rid of bloating or what really causes bloating. So having this information allows us to just build that trust factor and really give as much value as possible to the people that we're selling to. And I think this has worked, I mean, tremendously, honestly. Um, as you can see, we actually have actual links that go to these, you know, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services that actually go to these links that actually give you information on not only probiotics, but gut health and stuff like that. So we're giving you valuable information, very, very valuable information. Um, and I feel like this is something that you should do, especially if you're in supplements. If you're in a different industry, obviously it's a little different, right? But you should still have some type of blog or something that allows you to kind of build that trust factor, one, but also keep people on the page as long as possible and get as much value out of your brand or page as possible, right? And I think that's super critical just because people, like I said, people want to feel like they could trust you. People want to feel like they have an identity when they buy from you, right? Like, wow, I'm buying from these guys. I feel like I'm part of them. It's the same thing with these women with, Skims or Fenty by Savage, stuff like that. Like, there's an identity that's being sold. There's a feeling that's being sold, right? That transformation, you feel good, you look better, you're more confident, etc. So I think that it's super critical to have things like that on your site. We have the clinical review, also super, like, this is for like obviously we're in a supplement space. So I'm really just nitpicking for supplement brands and health brands. You can even do this for beauty brands. Stuff like this is what really builds on that trust factor, right? If you're a beginner, you may or may not, but most people don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to spend on marketing every month or brand awareness every month. So you have to make sure that your site is pillared to be able to build trust step by step, right? You want to be able to allow people the time to be able to read your site, go through your site without feeling like it's a scam, without feeling like, oh, this is super spammy. This is why everything is clear and concise, white background. We have the purple gradient, etc. But you want to allow people to go through your site and feel like this is something that they probably need, right? Okay, so as you can see here, we have that clinical review, and it breaks down everything. Like I said, you want to allow people to be able to build or gain trust as they go through your site. So as they're scrolling down, as they're looking at all these things, the trust factor is it's piling up, literally. They're like, oh, wow. I mean, they have the clinical review. They have the clinical evidence. They tell us exactly where this product is being made, exactly what it does, what's the quantitative timeline. Like, these are certain things that people subconsciously, they think about when they're scrolling on a site. Now, it may not come up all the time, but this is a lot of reason why some of these sites that don't have like the proper branding, or they're just all over the place, this is why people don't buy. I mean, consciously, they're like, this shit just looks crazy. Like, what the hell is this? But subconsciously, even if it is critiqued just a little bit, when there's certain things not in play, their mind starts to go, okay, like, let me try something else. This may not work for me. I don't trust this site too much. And these are some of the things that allows them to trust it, right? The ingredients analysis, right? Ingredient review. Then we have the full formula, right? And if you want to read more, you can read more, but we have the full formula, right? We have so that's ingredient analysis, full formula as well, and then the safety, right? Like, these are things that, like, people are like, oh wow, when they look at this and they go on the site, they're like, oh, these guys are like, these are some big guys. We don't look like just any normal Shopify or dropshipping store. We look like an actual legitimate brand, which we are. So, for your sake, this is how you want to look. You want to look like an actual brand. Like, you guys are actually doing 8 figures a year. You don't have to be. I'm not doing 8 figures a year, but it looks like we are. This looks like a $10 million plus supplement brand, right? And this is what you want to aim for. I was told, when you build a business, you want to build it to sell it, right? You don't have to sell it, but you want to build it so well that one day you could sell it, right? Like the private equity, whatever the case. I mean, even Poppy, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, they sold their probiotic soda for like $1 billion, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken. So they built that brand to sell it, and they ended up selling it, right? So you want to make sure that you have these components implemented in your site. That way people can trust your site a lot more and feel like, they're not just gambling with their life or their health by taking your products, or gambling with their card information by putting their stuff on your site and buying from you, right? So we have the probiotic blend as well. So we're going to, for that, you have to go to ingredient analysis. So we have the probiotic blend, 5 billion CFU, prebiotic fiber, right? That fiber blend, the cranberry, and polyphenosis. So, yeah, I mean, it gives you everything. So the educational review informed by reputable clinical sources. Like, these are things that, and it actually is, which is pretty cool. So we took the time to do that. And I feel like you have to take the time, especially when it comes to supplements and anything health, even beauty. You have to take the time to take certain steps, right? To then build trust, build a brand, build something reputable and reliable. You don't want to just be selling anything that you don't even know how it's made. You don't even know the effects or the results of it, right? It doesn't really make sense. So let me scroll down here. Built to support real life or real world digestive change. And then it gives you, like I said, quantitative results, right? 3.7 times more improvement in gut diversity. 70% of the people reported less bloating in 17 days, right? Revive versus placebo effects, 30-day improvement. So it's allowing the customer to see that quantitative change and the results. So now they have a better understanding on how this works and how it'll work for them and how it's worked for others, right? And everyone's different. So it could work for someone in 7 days, and it could work for someone else in 14 days. It could work for you in 30 days, right? And that's why we really push consistency and not changing, you know, not changing the routine, because changing the routine does reset everything. And we emphasize that in here. But as you can see here, another quantitative, right? Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Phase 1, build your gut baseline. Phase 2, feel lighter after meals. Phase 3, support vaginal and urinary balance, right? And then it tells you the CFUs, right? Which is crazy. And it also tells you the key strands within those segments. So for people in supplements, these are things that you should be taking notes on to be able to sell to the customers a lot better. And when people get to that product page, which is the PDP, they're like, oh, wow, this is a legitimate brand. This is someone, and with their branding and their messaging and everything like that, and the feeling that they're selling to me, I think this is someone that I want to start a subscription with. This is someone I want to buy from religiously. There's like, I've bought in products before where they were so good, I wrote reviews, right? This is branding 101. I don't usually write reviews, but if I love that product and I'm like, this is amazing, and I'm happy about the results that it's giving me and the feeling that it's making me feel, I might write a review, right? So you want to do the same exact thing when it comes to your supplement brand or your e-com store in general. So that feeling, give them certain phases, right? Especially with clothing, I think it's a little different. But you can still do the same thing, like phase 1, feel more confident in your clothes. phase 2, more photo shoots and etc. I don't know. I'm not in the clothing space, but you could do the same thing and have that quantitative result added onto your site where people are like, okay, like this is cool. Like phase 1, I'm more confident now. Phase 2, maybe I'm more confident enough where now I'm going to the gym and etc. I don't know. And then again, you want to have a number on, why most people trust you guys. So we have the comparison chart here. And as you can see, it's super interactive, right? Super interactive. Your site has to be interactive. You don't want a boring generic site, right? Because boring and generic does not sell, right? Simple sells, yes. Boring sells, yes. Generic, no. When you put generic and boring in the same thing, you're just not going to sell. But if you're boring, but you sell that feeling, you're branded well, you will sell, right? You will get customers. You will have a good conversion rate. And as you can see, everything is like, you'll go on this and you're like, oh wow, like this is like super immersed. Like I love being on this site. I love the branding that they've done. I love the messaging that they're messaging to me or relaying over to me. This is something that I want to buy, and this is something that, I want to support long term. So I think that's super key. And a lot of people, they look over that. And then as you can see, the add the cart is also a big one as well. So you add the cart has to be good. You actually want to put these things in your add the cart, just because it's just a little bit of more reinforcement, right? It reinforces them to be able to say, okay, this is something, I got to buy this ASAP, right? So that cart reserve, you don't have to do this. I just do it just because it's that urgency factor. Like, oh crap, I have 10 minutes, but they also have only 44 units left. Let me buy this bottle before the timer runs out, just in case I can't get it tomorrow or the next week, right? But then also having just reinforcement, 60-day money back guarantee, free shipping over $60 plus, but we just lower that to 50. Secured checkout. So now they could trust putting their card on our site, right? So your checkout should also be very, very, as you can see right here, 2 bottles, and it correlates. A lot of people may have a problem with the bundle correlate in the checkout. There's certain apps, and I'll get through all the apps that I use in a different segment, but there's certain apps that you could use where you can tie those two together where you don't have a problem with that. But then if you go to the checkout, it's shop, right? It's not some sketchy checkout. It's not some weird checkout where you got to put your social security in. I didn't even select an address. Just want to make sure. Let me see. I'm going to just put an address in. Boom. Best offer, free shipping, right? So you want to make sure everything is correlating. And then everything looks good. Everything is secure, as you can see. And then you have the return, privacy, terms, conditions, cancellation, and contacts, right? And then you can do the express checkouts. Having express checkouts is key because most people, from what I've noticed from the ads, they're coming from their mobile, right? A lot of people use their phones. They scroll on Facebook. I'm always on my phone. So when you scroll on Facebook and you see one of our ads or one of your ads, and they see one of your ads, what they'll do is they'll click. And if everything looks good, like I said, if they could be sold with your ad copyright, and then on your product page, the trust can be built, they'll buy right there. Having that Apple Pay, because a lot of people have iPhones, allows them just faster checkout without having to jot everything in, right? Because some people are just lazy. Some people don't want to type in all their information. They got to go get their wallet. And that is just an extra step. You want as little steps as possible, right? An extra step can cause for distraction, right? So if someone has to go get their wallet, go into the next room, go into their car, etc., they can get distracted along that route, right? You want to make it clear as day, clear and concise, right to checkout. Oh, I just use my Apple Pay. It's on my phone. Let me just do this right now. Let me not have to go into the car. Let me not have to go into the other room. Let me not have to go upstairs to grab my wallet because you could get distracted. People get distracted, right? And that's a key thing. So we'll go back. So as you can see with the store, it is a one product store. So key for anyone beginning in this, you should have a hero product, a one product store. Until you can master that product, that should be the only product on that store. You don't really need any other products, right? You could add other products. Like right now, we're working on a fiber prebiotic or probiotic fiber powder that has electrolytes and stuff like that, which is like it's like similar to this, but it doesn't compete with this, right? So you could take both daily. This doesn't have fiber in it, or not the same amount as the powder, but the product also has electrolytes. So that's more for like after the gym. You eat after the gym. You could take the fiber and the electrolytes, so it helps you right after the gym. So it's a completely different product, but it's in the same category. So they're not competing with each other. So that is a word of advice is to focus on one product. You don't want to have a whole bunch of products on there. And I've seen a lot of stores where they'll have a prebiotic, vaginal prebiotic, another prebiotic, just so many different products of the same thing. They all do the same thing, right? That creates decision fatigue. When you have a whole bunch of products like that, all it does is create decision fatigue, where no one knows what decision to make. No one knows what product to buy. Then you just drop off. Now your conversions are terrible, right? So I strongly suggest just having one hero product. That is our hero product. And that's the product that we focus on. So I strongly believe you should do that, is always focus on that one product until you master that product and add on other products. Another big thing. So we went over the quiz, went over clinical evidence. Being able to track your order as well is also key. Customers should be able to track their order, right? Now, if they're using the shop app, they should be able to track the order from the shop app. But being able to go on the site and tracking the order, it allows, trust me, it's a big trust factor. They can see where their order is. They won't think you're a scam site because now they see, okay, my order went from Missouri, it's now in Connecticut, right? So being able to see that, to know when their order should arrive, I mean, I think that's super crucial, and I think it's very key. We'll also go to the FAQ help center, right? This is, I think, wow. As you can see, the help center is down right now. So this is something, right, that needs to be changed. So we made changes the other day, or actually earlier today, and it looks like the help center got cut off. So that's something I'm going to show you later on in a different segment. But the help center is critical. People could punch in a ticket, and then people can also get customer support, learn more about the product, learn more about the company, learn more about shipping, return policy, etc. But yeah, I mean, that's really all I have to start your store. This will be part of a segment when it comes to copywriting and what to expect down the line when it comes to your store. I want to show you just one thing real quick before we go, just because I feel like this is also very key. I'm going to share this with you guys. Man, this cold is terrible. This is why I need to move to like Florida. This is annoying. And now this is not working. I don't know why not. It's weird. Okay, but it is what it is. So the core idea is not to sound convincing, right? You're trying to transfer credibility from a trusted source to your claim and then your product in a way that feels natural and verifiable, right? So I want to break this down to you real quick, just because a lot of people in this space look over this, and I feel like this is something that you should be doing to, like I said, transfer that credibility. So as you can see, this is the trust transfer model, how it works psychologically. People decide in order, is the source legit, right? So people want to know, like, where are you getting these products from? Like, is this cow manure in this pill? Like, is this an actual probiotic blend, right? Does the claim feel true / defensible? Does this apply to me? Is this solution safe plus worth acting on now, right? So these are super critical, right? Like, this is how people actually think when they're buying the supplements or when they're buying your health or beauty products. When they're buying basically anything, obviously the questions will change based on the industry. But for this example, for the supplement space, this is how people think, right? Authoritative figures work best because they shortcut steps 1 and 2, right? So 3 types of trust that you can borrow. You have to borrow trust, right? Especially like from sources like Amazon is a big one. Borrowing trust from Amazon. If your product is on Amazon, 9 times out of 10, people will cross-reference that to see if your product's on Amazon. And if your product is on Amazon, people just trust it more because it's on Amazon. A lot of times, stuff on Amazon is not sketchy. They're not scamming on Amazon because you will get your account removed. You don't even get paid right away. So it's just like, it's a whole different process when it comes to Amazon, right? So borrowing trust from Amazon is a big one because people do cross-reference Amazon. And I think that's big in this space. Is if you have a store, also having it on Amazon, I think is super key, just because the fact that if you have it on Amazon, people check it on Amazon, and then your price is higher on Amazon, they just go back to your store and they'll buy from your store, right? I mean, that is like a big monster. You're on Amazon is let's say $49.99, but on your store is $35.99. People go right back to your store, but they now have that trust from Amazon. They just don't need to buy on Amazon because Amazon has all these fees, right? They buy directly from your store. So that's a big thing. So you could borrow authority from credential authority, right? So I did this kind of wrong. Let's see. So doctors, PhD, CPA, ex-regulator, this person should know, right? So they should know because they're qualified to know, and they've taken the steps necessary to educate themselves or get the credentials or, get the licensing, whatever the case is, to know exactly how this should work, right? or how it works, if it should work, etc. Right? Institutional authority, major organizations, university, government body. This org is held accountable. That's like super big. Like for example, like Webull. Let's do Webull for example. So they take authority from, or they take that credibility from an institution, and that institution, or I guess organization, is the SEC, right? And that's the Securities Exchange Commission. And they also take authority from the FDA, um, and that's basically the Federal Reserve. They insure your money up to $250,000, right? So that's what Webull does. They're taking trust from these major organizations and government bodies, and then allowing you guys to trade on their platform, and then you guys can then see that they're trusted because they're borrowing trust from these government bodies or these organizations, right? So that's a big one. Even with your bank is FIDC insured up to 250,000, right? So um, they're also taking credibility and authority from an organization or a government body. Um, so you have that social authority, big creator, respected operator, industry veteran. People like me follow them, right? So there's so many people. Let's say Dwayne The Rock Johnson or Terry Crews when it comes to Red Spice, and or Old Spice. Sorry, I said Red Spice. That comes to Old Spice, and I thought about that yesterday, and I spoke about it in the podcast yesterday with Julian. How I'm a big fan of Everyone Hates Chris. I love the movie White Chicks. He's super. He's strong. He's buff. He works out. It's smooth. It works well for Old Spice because that's the demographic they're trying to reach. Right? That's their avatar. That avatar is 9 times out of 10 males that are active, males that want to smell good, and males that are in the gym. This is why they have a whole bunch of football commercials. Why they sponsor the NCAA, right? Or I think it's NCAA or the NFL, whichever the case is. They sponsor a sporting organization, right? And Terry Crews is an ex NFL player, and he just embodies that whole masculine look, working out, staying fit, staying active. So those two collide with each other, and they work super well. So that social authority is what Old Spice has used with Terry Crews, and I think a lot of big brands use that. Maybe not at first because that does cost money to then get a UGC, get someone that has a good amount of following. But micro influencers work as well. A micro influencer, 5,000 followers, 10,000 followers. I think some of the time, if not most of the time, micro influencers work best when you're beginning when you're starting, because their fan base is so small that they actually like the followers will feel like they're more authentic. Like they're not just a sellout. Like they're not just promoting this for the money. Like they actually use this and they actually stand by this product. So I think micro influencing and micro influencers are like the best route to go when you're first starting. And then as you get bigger, you can still use the micro influencers, obviously, but then you just layer it on with, the the bigger influencers, the macro influencers. So best funnels stack all three, right? Like I just said, you want to stack off all three, right? Um, this is something that I think works very, very well. And it allows you to build that trust, right? So here's the 7-part authority stack. You should build your funnel. Use this as your checklist. You don't need all 7, but more equals easier conversions. So authority anchor, pick one. So you pick one: medical, clinician, registered dietitian, researcher, finance. You'll do CPA, former underwriter, banker, fitness, strength coach, PT, sports performance coach, right? So the rule is your expert must match the claim, right? A dentist talking about hormones feels off, right? A CPA talking about gut health feels fake. So what it means by that, it's pretty self-explanatory. If you have, let's say, a teeth whitening product, a dentist should be talking about that, right? You shouldn't have, let's say, a underwriter for a bank talking about it. Now it's a little different if you're just getting UGC. You can have a fitness person that kind of goes through their day and what they do when they first wake up. That's a little different, but we're stacking this right now, right? So you want to make sure that it's in alignment to what you're selling. So implementation reviewed by section, quote, video clip, or signed letter. Institutional backing, borrowing the institution's standards. This is where you cite common mechanisms, widely accepted facts, general best practices. Examples of institutions: National Institutes of Health, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Harvard Medical School, Mayo Clinic. Don't imply these organizations endorse your products. You're saying your claims align with general science, not that Harvard recommends you. That is super key. And this is how you can get yourself into a lot of trouble. So all you're saying is that your claims are in line to general science. You're not saying, oh yeah, Harvard Medical School suggests that their students should take our probiotic. We're not saying that. So that's a huge thing. And I'll have this for people to download. So I'll have a link in the video description so you can download it and have it for yourself. That way, you can go back and forth on it and kind of implement it into your marketing strategy. So proof artifacts, something visual or concrete. Authority creates real when it's shown, not told. So artifacts that convert, lab tested, COA snapshot, third-party lab. Before and after metrics, screenshot with disclaimers, clinical reviewed protocol, PDF, etc. We follow GMP, manufacturing doc. All these things help because they're being shown to them, right? It's like I did the clinical evidence. It's being showed to them. It's not just being told to them, right? Everyone knows action speaks louder than words. So if everyone's just being told certain things, but there's no action behind it, they can't really see it visually. A lot of the times, they're not going to trust it as much. So that's a huge component. Mechanism, explanation, why it works, simply. Authority increases persuasion, and when it explains a mechanism. So template: when X happens in your body / market, it causes Y. That's why people feel Z. The fix is to do A consistently and avoid B. Just like that. It's literally clear as day. So it allows people to get a better explanation of it and to understand it more. And then the expert's role is to reduce complexity, remove scam vibe, explain why your method is reasonable. And this all has to do with that trust factor, building pillars of conversions, right? So people want to trust these things, and trust your product. Let's go. Say why your approach is safer, smarter. Authority gives you permission to be selective. Example: most products do, right, which creates problem. We do to avoid that, right? This is where you win against competitors without looking salesy. So most products do XYZ, which creates a problem, right? But we do, I guess, we third party test our products to avoid that, right? So, most products don't third party test their supplements, which creates other health problems, or whatever the case is, which is a problem. And then we do third party testing to avoid that. So it doesn't look salesy. It's just letting you know what we do differently to allow you to avoid the problems that you may have seen with other products. Risk reversal. This is big. So authority makes guarantees believable. So common, like I was mentioning before, money back guarantee. Try for 30 days, risk free, right? Cancel anytime. When you have a subscription, you should be able to change or cancel anytime. Free consult, right? Authority makes the risk reversal feel safe, not desperate, right? So literally, it just makes it feel like, okay, I could trust these guys. These guys are allowing me to try this risk free. I get my money back, or I can get in consultation with one of their, clinicians, or whatever the case is, and I can cancel the subscription anytime without being locked into a contract that doesn't allow me to cancel for 2 years. So that's a big thing. Compliance plus disclosure. Trust dies without it. Literally. Right. And this is for 3 different industries. So the supplements, health, and finance. You must avoid miracle claims. Like, you really have to. You can't say 6-year-old woman takes our pill and it cured her cancer in 45 days. Just like stuff like that is like, one, it's unbelievable. And it just kills your trust factor. 2, you could get flagged by Meta and your payment processor. And I'll talk about that in other segments as well, how payment processing is like super key, especially when you're doing subscriptions, and how you can avoid getting blocked by your payment processor, which then you have to restart your subscriptions all over again. You don't want to go through that. So if you use endorsements as testimonials, you must follow FTC rules. Clear disclosure if paid, obviously, comped, or affiliated. So obviously you shouldn't be making miracle claims. You shouldn't say this clears cancer within a certain time frame when it doesn't. And so on and so forth. I mean, that's pretty obvious. You don't want to be doing stuff like that. It really kills that trust factor. If you're making health claims, be careful how you reference U.S. Drug and Food Administration. Or for that completely backwards. Food and Drug Administration language, especially around disease claims. You don't want to claim that this prevents or cures any disease. That's like a big no-no, right? And this is why we have it on our bottles. We say it clear as day. You don't want to be doing that. That it really does break trust, but then it gets you into a lot of legal trouble as well. Um, so all these are plug and play examples, and then I'll use for Revive probiotics style and claiming, right? Style framing, since that's what you've been working on. Swap terms for your product. So when we do this, you'll just swap, or when you download it, you'll just swap the terms for your product, whatever you're selling, right? This was made for us, so you'll just swap the terms. So then we go down here to concrete example funnels, right? I think this is like super useful and informative. Yeah, that's why I love this document that we drafted up. So like I said, you'll just plug these in when you guys download it. But yeah, for the most part, example A, I think is like it's amazing. So a lot of people, you got to understand, what cold traffic is a lot different than people that know about you. So you have to frame things a lot differently with cold traffic. And something that I love to do is a new style advertorial, right? And I think like breaking news or warning, women that have been doing this have seen symptoms like X, Y, and Z, or the truth that doctors fail to tell their clients, etc. Like this is real examples that we use in some of our cold traffic, and then the creative matches the new style advertorial that it's going to. So it goes cold traffic, then product, but even to get more advanced in it or on it, it goes cold traffic, goes to a news article, then you have a whole bunch of CTAs that then leads them to the product page. So it just builds trust one by one, and it allows your client, or not your client, but your customer, to be able to read as much information and be like, oh, wow, this is me. And then have everything in alignment to, the problems that they're having, to then be able to solve that problem. So I'm gonna go, let me see. Here we go. Law breakdown. So I'm gonna show you what I use. So it's this, right? Still bloated even when you eat clean. So we have a whole ad set for it. And in the next segment, when I show you all the ads and how I do the ads, the pixels and stuff, I'll show you how the creative is in alignment to this. But as you can see, it breaks down everything. So quick promise, no BS, the trap, the fix, etc. Quick pick, the symptom quick pick. So something like this, right? So if you're not sure, take the 60-second quiz, and then something like this. You put what's your number one issue. It tells you your likely pattern, and it just tells you each time a different likely pattern. But then 5 reasons bloating keeps coming back even when you eat clean. So as you can see, super interactive, but then it tells you everything. It tells you what to do, what to avoid, and also to do this, and then common objections, right? And this is worked very, very well. So you see, you just keep going down, and this is why you got to match up your creative and your copywriting to then the funnel that it's going to. So on our ads, we have a certain copyright, and then we have a certain creative that matches this, so people aren't confused or anything like that, right? And then you can see the routine, which takes them to so ready to stop guessing. Run one plan for 21 to 30 days, and judge by weekly trend, not daily dose or daily noise. And then what you could do is click that, and it takes you to the product page. And then you got myths and truths, the timeline, like I said, quantitative. So look at that. The goal, week 1, set baseline, the do's, the don'ts, and then the signals, right? Hard hitting truth. And then we have is the quick FAQs, and then not sure where to start. You can take the quiz, or you can start the routine. So something like this is like, I think this is super conversion heavy. This allows your customers to then read as much information as possible, know exactly what's going on, and then have a solution for it right there and then. So it's just one funnel. Funnels are everything when it comes to e-com. Funnels are literally everything. So as you can see, a concrete funnel example is the same thing that I just mentioned to you. Sometimes you could take it to the product page. So you should be testing. So 100 different creatives, just testing which, different copyrights, different hooks, etc., and seeing what the metrics are on that. And some of them could go to something like that, like the blog page, or it could go right to the product page. So you have certain headlines like clinicians are warning women about this silent gut imbalance. Here's what to do. This, boom, immediately grabs their attention. Immediately. Because they're like, oh, it sparks that curiosity, right? So then now it's just like authority, The clinicians are warning people about something, right? The clinicians, they go to school for it, they study it, they get licensed, whatever. Then the curiosity. So what are they actually telling them, right? Well, what are they warning them about? And then what can I do about it? That's where it should explain everything. This is why, for example, it's like you could either go to the product, but me personally, I'd rather go to a funnel like a blog page to kind of break down everything. It captures them, it explains everything about it. That way, boom, the curiosity part is done, authority part is done. Now they can be sold to when it comes to the product page, and now they have that solution. Opening pattern interrupt. For years, women were told to just drink water or eat more fiber, but clinicians are now pointing to a different root cause: a disrupted gut microbiome, often made worse by stress, antibiotics, and ultra processed foods, right? So it's a pattern interrupt. For years, women were told to just drink more water, right? Right there, or eat more fiber. So all of this whole thing is a pattern interrupt. And this is really key when it comes to your copywriting. This is why copywriting is a big skill when it comes to e-commerce. You want to know exactly how to gauge someone, how to get someone to stop scrolling and read what you have to say, and then click that link that you're directing them to. Authority insert. So when your gut is out of balance, symptoms often show up as bloating, irregularly, cravings, and mood swings, says Dr. Lopez, right? PharmD, right? The goal isn't quick relief, it's restoring consistency. So stuff like that. And then institutional backing, research summarized by institutions like National Institutes of Health discusses how gut bacteria can influence digestion and inflammation pathways. Like, this is not only institutional backing, but it's also very informative, right? It's allowing you to say, "Oh wow, I didn't know this. I had no idea." So, but now I know because one, I clicked on the link and they broke everything down to me, and now I can have a better understanding, right? Um, Mechanism explanation. The gut is like a garden. If the good strands drop, the optimistic bacteria rise. Digestion slows and irritation increases. That's why women can feel bloated even when eating healthy. And this is what goes to this. Look at that. Still bloated even when you eat clean, right? So having something like that, it just backs the information in the copyright. Um, let's see, transition to solution. Let's make it short, soft, so it's not salesy. That's why many practitioners suggest a daily, consistent probiotic protocol, but only if it's formulated to survive the stomach and deliver meaningful CFU. So that's a big thing. A lot of probiotics are made, they don't survive that stomach acid or that gut acid, right? So they die well before they reach the gut, and they're no longer useful. So Revive is built for consistency, high CFU count, etc. It'll be different for you, depending on what your CFU count is, your strands that you selected, and whatever your daily routine that's suggested for them. CTA, see the protocol. We have it a little different. Um, it's C routine, start routine, etc. But you can just kind of cater it to your own liking. Example B, expert explainer via cell. This is a video landing page. This works very well with this, but it also works very well. I don't know if you've seen like trading funnels where that expert will kind of break down everything in the trading funnel, then you'll click to sign up for something that they have. It's the same thing, right? So hook, if you're tired, if you tried everything and still feel bloated, right? Authority, I'm, a clinician. I've worked with thousands of women. Mechanism, what's actually happening, 3 common mistakes, the protocol, offer plus guarantee. These are extremely like critical when it comes to doing something like that in a video landing page. But also you want to make sure it's very well filmed. And then script excerpt, sorry. You don't have to really go too much over that. You'll read that when you download it. 3 common mistakes. It adds credibility, authority, borrowing on product page, fast implementation. So this is exactly what we did on a product page. So if you go to our product page, here's one right here. And then when you go down here, product description, look at this, look at that. And also the clinical evidence, etc. All this, right? So that is super key. Make sure it's a badge strip, and then a clean reviewed by block. So reviewed by, like you just saw there, reviewed by 10 years in women digestive health, former clinician, nutrition advisor, focus microbiome plus functional digestion. A science implied section, why it works, what you'll notice, and the timeline. Like I said, the timeline is everything. But then you also want to see why it works. So people are going to want to know, why does this even work? How does this work? And then what will I notice if I take this? That's also very, very, very critical. Let me see. So then you have the email sequence. So I'm not going to get into this today because it has to go with the SMSs and how you'll kind of frame those things. That'll be a different segment for you guys. But we could go down here, how to choose authoritative figure, practically a real expert you hire. That's for the best conversion, pays off long term. Micro influencers. Did I not mention micro influencers earlier? They're like people that people actually trust because they feel like they're not sellouts. Like they feel like they actually care about the common well-being of the people that they're providing their information to, or providing some suggestions to, right? Institutional authorities, safe and scalable, and cite general guidance and research bodies. The do's and don'ts that will kill your trust. I tell you, you could really kill your trust by doing certain things, and you don't want to do that. Once that trust is gone, it's very, very hard to build up again. So reviewed by with credentials, show artifacts, lab test, GMP certificate, use conservative wording, supports, may help, consistent routine. Don't imply Harvard Medical School or Mayo Clinic endorses your product, promise cures or treat diseases, use fake doctor branding or stock photo experts, right? Hide paid endorsements. FTC will nail you. That is super common. And then if you tell you two things, you could just prop this into ChatGPT, and then ChatGPT should be able to give you a better explanation. Hold on, I have to sneeze. Wow, yeah, man, being sick is tough, but you gotta get it done no matter what. You have to get you gotta get the work done. So that's all I want to show you for today. Everything else that I'm gonna show you is gonna be in other segments and other YouTube videos. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of break down everything to you when it came to just starting your store. And this should give you a pretty good groundwork to be able to start your store. Make sure it's the branding's well, it doesn't look too scammy. Actually get a domain, and that should allow you the following steps to be able to then start running ads, start really getting that brand awareness out there. And I'll discuss that more in other segments as well. Um, but yeah, this will be in the description below. You could download it, use it for your own being, plop it in the chat GBT. Personally, I use Claude for my copyright, or my copywriting, and I'll explain that later on. You kind of have to, it's like prompt engineering is what we call it, where you really have to go in and really make it a good copyright. For your ads, your emails, and your SMS campaigns. So I'll break all that down in other segments. But yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments below. I felt like this is a good foundation for you guys to be able to work with and be able to actually start a store and understanding what needs to be done to actually kind of scale that store to the next level and build that trust. But yeah, if there's anything I may have left out, put it in the comments below as well. That way I can add it in future segments. But that is all for today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. But until next time, I am out. Let's start them stores. Let's scale to the next level. But you heard it first here. Hope you guys got as much valuable information as I thought I gave. And you guys start implementing that as soon as possible. Supplements are on fire right now. So hopefully you guys, don't take it with a grain of salt and actually implement it. But until next time, I'm out. Peace.